You've had 2 really good seasons in a row. You've carried Honda's flag, but what would you consider? What's going to be a good season for you in 2017?
Well, honestly, I don't see why we couldn't win a championship. I mean, yeah, we know that the cars aren't going to change much. So from an aerodynamic standpoint, we are going to struggle compared to our competitor a little bit. But I think the Honda engine is pretty good. And so if that can continue to develop, we certainly know the folks at Ilmore aren't, sleeping up there. But if the engine can continue to get better, there's no reason why we can't win a championship. I mean, if you look at last year, our performance was right on par. We qualified in the top 6 more than I had in years, and on every single road course we were in there. Street courses we need to work on a little bit. Toronto, like the really bumpy ones in particular, Toronto, Detroit, and obviously Indy. If you look at Indy compared to Rossi, I lost 89 points in May. Think about that. Yeah. That's 2 races. Yeah. 2 races I had to make up over those guys in points over the remainder of the year, and we did that, but that's not an easy thing to do. And so we need to be better at Indy, and then I feel like our performance elsewhere should be pretty good. We just there's going to be a lot of work done towards the Speedway, mainly from our organization standpoint. But if we can get in the top 3, I guess we'll be satisfied. We should finish top 5 last year, and frankly, had a lot of bad luck last year. So if things can go our way a little bit like they did in 2015, we should be right there.
Do you think? I don't know, the way that things have worked out in the last years. It's kind of a disadvantage not to have 3 teammates, probably like Penske and Ganassi. At the same time, it's kind of cool that it's your team.
It is. It's been nice. We're going to have, obviously, Serbia is going to join us for a couple of races at Indy and then Detroit, and I think that'll be good for us. But it's nice because, like, when you go over to our shop, it's just, number one, it's an extremely tight-knit group. We don't see turnover. All of our key individuals, they're not going anywhere. And I don't see any of them ever going anywhere. And the team is solely focused on making sure the 15 car can win races. Now, I don't even care, and people will think I'm full of it here, but I don't even care if I'm the driver. If somebody else was the driver there, I think it would be the same. The focus is on the 15 car to win races, and that's what they've done. Now, there's still a lot of development for us to do. We don't do as much as other teams. We just try to outsmart them. And at some point, we're going to have to continue to develop and get the car. Like for Indy, we really messed up last year on some aerodynamic stuff. That's what killed us. We had one day of aero testing. We believed what we saw, and what we saw were not real. It was not real data points. It was not accurate, and still we chased it, and it killed our month of May. So we're kind of going back on that stuff. We need to continue to develop a little bit to keep up with the Penske's of the world. But when you think about this, Pagano said something at the banquet last year that just shocked me when he talked about how Penske has 400 whatever employees. We have 20, and that includes office staff. Okay, and not only, do we have 20, but they've got their own shaker rig. They've got access to wind tunnels whenever they want it. I mean, all this stuff. We have nothing, and we haven't done any of that. And yet we still keep up. And so at some point, though, we need to be trying those things and see what we're missing. But I'm really, really, really proud of the group that we have.
Isn't it kind of cool, though, to be considering where you were 3 or 4 years ago and how despondent you were about this whole situation? Now when people talk about who they have to beat, you're one of the guys they talk about at every race.
Yeah, and it's nice, it's nice. And yeah, because a couple of years ago, I remember telling Courtney, I was like, this just isn't even fun. I mean,
we talked on the phone once about maybe I'll go run sports cars. I ain't going to do
it. It wasn't even fun, dealing with, because I knew I felt like I was capable. But it was just like we could not figure anything out. And then the excuse was always, it's just Graham. And it's like, no, it's not, And so it was difficult to kind of get through that stage. But at the same time, it keeps you honest. And I'll never forget those times. I still look back at pictures of 2013, 2014, and it kills me, man. It's tough. It's tough for me to look at that,
But it makes you
at that
appreciate
stuff.
what's
But it
happening
does.
now.
But it does. Yeah. And so, I think it's made me a lot hungrier. Like at Texas last year, I can tell you if I had a chance at all, I was not going to lose that race. Now, in some cases that goes your way, some cases it doesn't. But, my will to fight as hard as I could, even on old tires compared to Canaan on freshies and everything else. I mean, I did not want to lose that race. And a couple years ago, maybe that, I don't know if that, that drive would have been there, but to actually make it happen, I don't know if that would have been possible. So it definitely keeps you honest, and it, gives you a different mindset, going forward. And, I often think to myself, I think this all the time, if you want to retire in, 10 years, whenever your time is up, and you want to be remembered as one of the greats, you cannot waste a single more year. There's not one more year that can really go bad,
Right.
Because, I started extremely young. So if I look at my career,
Extremely well.
but if I look at my career like to date, should I have started an IndyCar race at 18 years old? Probably not. But the opportunity came, and you go for it. But there were a lot of years where probably, could have been doing a lot of learning, and I just happened to be doing it here, where other guys happen to do it, in a junior category, which is ultimately going to benefit me. But from a stat standpoint, you realize, okay, I got to perform. And I think I saw something like over the last 2 seasons, we've been in the top 5 more than 50% of the races. That's a pretty good stat, and we got to continue to do that.